and welcome to part 2 of our Greg Leon interview. Greg was having so much fun that we were about ready to get cut off. He didn't want to stop doing the interview, so we're just going to carry on because we're having such a fun conversation. I'm going to throw it to you now, Tom, as we pick up part 2. I know you got a lot of questions you wanted to ask him.
Absolutely. First of all, I just want to kind of like introduce myself to you and let you know exactly what I do, Greg. I'm the president of JROCK Music Group. It's a record company. It's a new record label. We have on staff, our publicist is Michael Brandball. I don't know if you know who Michael is, but he made Kiss Online. Ozzy, He did last thing. We have New Ocean Media as our radio publicist. We're signing a ton of bands and stuff like that. In fact, my own band, I've spent 18 weeks on the Billboard charts last year with my Great American Rock album.
Wow.
So, and I sold a lot of records. But I mean, I love your music. I mean, we've been signing a lot of bands that I call legacy bands, and I put you right in that category. Like we just signed the Angels of Babylon, and the original band that was Dave Elvison, Rhino from Man of War. Rhino still carrying on, great singer too. I mean, we're putting their album out for them. We've got a bunch of new bands we brought on. But when you talked about Sony and the Orchard, but I will be out your way too. If you've got anything going on in January, I'm playing the Metal Hall. I played last year with Twisted Sister, the Metal Hall, and Raven and them. I'm playing in this year, and then I'm also playing the next night with Metal Allegiance. They asked me to play out there too, so I'll be out in California. But I would love to meet you. But I would be interested in talking to you too a little bit about your music.
Yeah.
So question I really have for you is: you said you bought a 24 track. Is that what you recorded your last album with?
The last album I recorded on a 16 track half-inch machine.
So it was tape. You're using tape.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's all real. There's no synthesizers, nothing like that. When I mix it, I'm old school. When I mix it, I mix right to a CD. It's done. And we never got it what do you call it? Mastered. The guy at the mastering was listening to it. He goes, dude, I'd feel bad taking your money. This is fine. You don't have to do nothing. This is so. Who mixes? I go, I did. He goes, he goes, this is pretty awesome. He goes, I'm not going to even touch it. He goes, it's perfect.
Nice.
And now I got a 24 track tape machine, 1-inch Tascam MSR 24S, and man, does it sound good.
Nice.
And I got, all the right mics, all the old, and a lot of warm equipment too. This warm equipment is just amazing. I've got all their 1170s. I got about 6 1176s. I think I got 6 LA2As from them. I got the U47s, a pair of those, and the 251s, a pair of those, plus the FET mics for the drums. And yeah, it sounds amazing now. Amazing.
Yeah, I was very impressed with you. And that's when I was wondering, did you really use tape? I was like,
oh yeah.
I just
converted analog.
Yeah,
I bought a Pro Tools rig, and I had so many problems with it. I called up my old bass player, who I was not playing with anymore. And I go, dude, because he wants to start writing and record. I go, dude, I'm going to give you my Pro Tools rig because you're a computer guy. I'm old school analog. I know tape. That's my thing. So I put it all in a box, took it out to him, and now he's using it. So nice. I like tape, man. I love tape.
So how are you converting it over? I had some 2-inch tape I did with Scott Columbus, the drummer for Man of War, before he died. Him and we did like a 6-song EP. I had to have it burned over because the tapes were full, but how are you doing that? You're just going direct to CD, you said?
Yeah.
I
just mix it right to CD. I used to have
high quality. You're getting such high quality, it sounds like to me. I'm just amazed.
Good mics, good tape, and knowing how to align the machines. I mean, look at all the great music we love. That was all done on analog.
Yep.
Listen to Hendrix. It was all 4 tracks until he got to Electric Ladyland. I mean, the Beatles was all 2 and 4 tracks, and it's amazing. So it's all knowing how to mic up, and I'm still learning. I mean, all the time I'm learning. I'm talking to people. I meet somebody that's real big in the industry, and I just pick their brain because I want to know what they know.
Sure.
And I got on. I've become friends with Frank Marino, who's him and Hendrix are my all-time favorite guitar players.
Yeah.
And we get on the phone and we just start talking shop, and it's like an hour and a half goes by, and what a nice guy and what a talent! Just brilliant guy. And I really look up to. I've been into him since 1972, I think.
Oh wow!
I was in junior high school.
Yeah.
And we were doing Talking About a Feeling and one other one, New Kind of Rock and Roll, when I was in junior high school.
Yeah.
you know, and but yeah, it's all tape, it's all analog. There's no computers at all on it. In fact, even on the CD, it says no computers were involved in the recording of this.
That's
So
also
how
very
you- how
Boston-like.
the drum sounds that you have are excellent too. How many tracks are you using for drums?
4.
4 tracks for the drums. You're getting that
Yeah.
bouncing down from 4 tracks.
Yeah, I got 2 overheads and
Mhm.
I got a snare and a bass drum. That's it. And the reason I do that, I heard an interview with uh, Jeff Lynne from Electric Light Orchestra, and
Mhm.
I was driving home for like a 400-mile trip one night, and he was on with Jim Ladd, and he was talking about recording, and people were calling in. He goes, "Wow, now you got this 96." Some guy calls in, "You got this 96 channel, recording situation. How many? Now you can mic every drum top and bottom." And he let the guy finish. He goes, "Why would I do that?" He goes, "I never use more than 4." He goes, "Bass, drum, and two overheads."
Sure.
I just found out yesterday that Frank Marino on his Eye of the Storm record used 1 mic on the drums, and it sounds amazing. The drums,
Wow.
1
Yeah.
mic. That's what they did in the 30s and 40s. It
Sure.
was all just that sound of the room. You played to the microphone.
Yeah.
And Bonham, sometimes they only use 2 mics.
Yep,
Mhm.
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know, so-
It's amazing. I'm very impressed. That
Oh,
was
thank
my
you.
piece.
Yeah, I converted up here at the house. It was a garage. Actually, it was a carport originally. Then I enclosed it, and then it's just a 25 by 20 room. And I just got all my gear in there, and I got 5 Marshall stacks, 4 SVT stacks, the killer drum set, and it's great. I mean, we have so much fun, and we always laugh when it's over. We go, "How the fuck did we do this? It sounds so good." We didn't have to go to some big studio and pay all kinds
Old
of money.
school, old
But I mean,
school.
I've invested my ass into
Yeah,
this thing, but it's
yeah.
just fun, if you can, if you try to emulate your old heroes. That's all I try to do. I mean, I loved Hendrix. I probably would have become a doctor had I not got the Hendrix bug. And I don't want to say it ruined my life, but it definitely changed the trajectory of my life, because all I could think about was guitar after that.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Excellent. Excellent. Very happy.
yeah.
Jason, go ahead. I'll let you talk now.
Yeah.
So I like you've been known, as you said, you think of yourself very much as a frontman, a singer, and you're obviously a guitar player. But like when you write your songs, like do you think mostly like do lyrics come first, or are you worried about telling a story? Is it the songs based like on the guitar riff?
It's funny. I come up with riffs. And I got a whole backlog of riffs, and then I try to join them together and make sense out of it.
Yeah.
And the lyric is the last thing. I always come up with melodies. That's one thing I'm very fortunate with, melodies. But my wife is always, "Greg, you got to tell a story. Look back in your life at some of the things that happened to you. Don't make up fantasy things. Do
Yeah.
real things so people can identify with it." So on the last record, Tell the Children, that's what I did pretty much, except for the song Tell the Children, which is complete fantasy.
Yeah.
But it's got a good message in there anyways, at the very last words of the song. But
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, I know the music has always come first for me, always.
And let me ask you, like the Rainbow Girl, that's a song off the new album. What's that about? Is that specifically Rainbow or somebody specifically?
It's my wife.
Oh,
My wife grew up in British Columbia, way up almost to Alaska, and a hunting and fishing lodge called Rainbow Lake Lodge. That was her folks and her place where she grew up, way in the middle of nowhere.
wow.
And when we would go into town, everybody knew her as the Rainbow Girl, because she's from up at the land. She's gorgeous. My wife, I know you met my wife, I think. She's
Yeah,
a beautiful girl, tall, blonde, and just really built. And so we'd go up there to visit, and we'd be in town and be, "Hey, there's the Rainbow Girl," and "Hi, Rainbow Girl," and
yeah.
So I started thinking that's a good name for a song. So that's how, and it's basically the story of how we met. We met at the House of Blues. I was playing. She had called me a few days before looking for a guitar player to lay some tracks down. And then she came backstage to meet me, and we talked all night. We went on a date, which she said was not a date. She just wanted to get together and pick my brain about stuff. And we ended up kissing at the end of the night. And I gave a kiss to her, and we've been together ever since. That's 23 years ago.
I love that. I mean that is the ultimate. Story
It's awesome.
of music bringing you together. Yeah.
Yeah, and my wife's a musician too. She's a phenomenal singer, phenomenal lyricist, and I write all her music for her. And we've done 2 records so far. We're about halfway through the 3rd record now for her. But yeah, no, it's been magical. I mean, I could not ask for a better wife, a better companion. I mean, when we travel, we get along great. So I feel so blessed, and so many gifts have been bestowed upon me
Wow,
that
wow.
how can you be upset? I mean, I'm upset with the way the music industry is now with trying to get royalties stuff, but I don't have any control over that, so I can't let it affect me. I just have to keep trying to stay creative and keep moving along with the music, and hopefully come up with something that
I
people
mean,
just
I mean,
love.
I think you and I talked about this last time, Greg. Part of the problem is like we are old school guys. It has to do with the era we grew up in. I mean, I'm a guy that still buys physical CDs. I just love to have something physical in my hand to hold. I
Me
mean,
too.
I miss the days of going to a record store. Hey, kids, you know what a record store is? Where you used to go and we'd buy our albums, our music.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I miss those days too.
yeah,
I remember there was a place in Glendale called Turning Point, and there was this guy in there, and I was a kid,
yeah.
but he knew I loved Jimi Hendrix, and how he got these bootlegs of Hendrix way back then, I have no idea. But I would go in there, and he'd see me coming, and he'd put on this bootleg Hendrix stuff, and his name was Travis, and I
Mm.
would go in there, and I'm going, how come I've never? Because I thought I had every Hendrix thing, and I didn't. But he had just, and it was just, it was just awesome. People that are really fans of, they find ways to get what they want,
Yeah.
and I just mailed off to Spain today. There's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing they're doing there in a museum. And the guy has been not bothering me, but urging me to mail him off a t-shirt, autographs, and my records. And he just put the money in my PayPal account. I mailed it out this morning, and
Wow. Wow.
it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, you don't even realize how people love you. And I'm going, well, it's great to hear it. I mean, it's flattering.
And the amazing thing about that is, you think being a guy that was a big part of the LA rock scene, you'd get that kind of accolades, people around here, but people reading about you on the internet and somewhere, around the world, and
Yeah.
you get that kind of attention.
Yeah. We started talking about the Dirt, the Motley Crue movie, and
Yeah.
that guy that's playing guitar that comes in and they kick him out. That's not me. That was a guy named Robin they played with for a minute. I never played with them. I refused to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And Tom wanted me to, I always called him Tom because it was Tom
yeah,
Bass when we played
yeah.
together. And, but anyways, to set that straight, I never did play with them. I was asked to do it. Tom wanted me in the band, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. So I didn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to touch on this or not, but I came across it was an old interview from many years ago of Kevin Dubrow talking about somebody was asking. Apparently, that the rumor is Nikki Sixx also auditioned for Quiet Riot, and Kevin, according to Kevin, that and there's all these rumors going around about Nikki now. Who knows what's true? That at the time he's like he didn't even know how to really play the bass.
I had to tune his bass when I auditioned him.
Yeah,
He
wow,
couldn't even tune it. It was terrible.
yeah,
And he looked great on stage, and he played quarter notes and eighth notes. He got by. He was a pretty boy. The songs were good, but as far as a musician, he was not a musician. In fact, I don't know if I should even say this, but I
yeah,
think
yeah,
the truth is finally coming out now. When they were doing Theater of Pain, I went to the studio where they were doing Theater of Pain.
yeah,
I think it was Fiddler Studio. I think.
yeah.
I can't remember. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So Tommy invites me down. And so I walk in there and they're doing the record. And a buddy of mine that I was in a band with for a minute, who's in Kingdom Come, was sitting down playing bass. I go, John, what are you doing here? And he goes, well, I'm,
Helping out.
yeah, they hired me in. He goes, I'm a ghost player. I go, what is a ghost player? I never heard of that. He
Yeah,
goes, well, I help out with the production, and the producer brings me in because he knows I can play the parts good. And then the bass player that's in the band goes and learns those parts in the field. I'd never heard of that before.
yeah.
And it just blew my mind. And now it's coming out that, he's playing the tapes, and, it's just,
But,
I don't know, man.
it's sad because I'm a Motley Crue fan myself, like a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Nicki fan, and the thing is, like I was reading stuff as the stuff is coming out, and Nicki makes a statement to the press about, well, we're kind of in the phase of our career where we don't really give an F, and he let it slip that I don't even know if I played bass on the first 4 Motley Crue albums. And I'm like, you got
He
to be kidding
didn't.
me.
He didn't.
Even if that's true,
It is true.
why
He
would you let
didn't.
it out of the bag? You know what I
I
mean?
know. That's why I've known this for 30 years,
Yeah,
and I just like, you guys just don't get it. It's not what you think it is, man.
yeah,
And
yeah.
a lot of bands, my drummer that I play with now, he gets called in all the time to play on a major record. He was Bill Ward from Black Sabbath's drummer in the Bill Ward band for like 15 years.
Yeah.
He gets called in all the time to set the drum tracks down, and then they fill in all the stuff on top of it. Then when they go out live, it's good enough for live, you know. So, but he just gets called in. He gets paid sometimes double scale.
Yeah.
He's always doing sessions.
And like you and Tom were talking about how you kind of do your recording the old school way, but hey, if it sounds that good, why change it? I was curious. As far as recording, do you guys really do it the old school way where everybody's in the same room as a band?
Yep, always.
I love that. Yeah.
I have a Kemper, and I plug into my Kemper, and that goes into my tape deck. The bass player plugs into my other Kemper, that goes into the tape deck, and we get a sound that's really good. So the drummer in his earphones, it sounds like he's playing with us live, and we just have a click track going. I put a little click track on there, and that's ticking away, and he counts it off, and we just go. And we usually get it the first or second take. If we don't get it then, we'll take a break and maybe come back and do it again. But usually it's first or second take.
Well, Greg, have you had a chance to play much outside of the LA area? I mean, do you ever get gigs outside of LA or?
Yeah, I went to Europe a couple of times and played over in Hungary and Romania and stuff. And we played 5 to 20,000 seaters. And we were the only American act on the bill. And people went absolutely apeshit. The band, which nobody in America's probably heard, there was a band that was headlining this Metal Fest tour, and they were called Pokel Gap, and they're like the Deep Purple of that part of Europe. They've been together forever. But every day after the first time I played, the first show I played, they were all of them on the side of the stage cheering me on and just wanted to hang out with me. And they were calling me their little Mark Farner, because it's a 3-piece band and we do that good, kind of Grand Funk. In fact, we play a lot of Grand Funk when we warm up. We love Grand Funk, and I can sing all that stuff. So we played in Hungary and Germany, what do you call it, Romania.
Yeah.
And we've always go over, it's weird because I think here in LA, everybody has seen me so many times.
Yeah.
You see, it's like eating the same food all the time. You go, okay, well, I'll just see them next time, whatever. But we go over there. This is their first chance to see me. They might have read about me for years. Well, finally, I'm over there, and the people go crazy. I did MTV Europe on that last Hungarian tour.
Wow.
They came to me. I'm like, this is a joke, right? I'm getting punked. I'm looking for, that whoever it was did the punk movie. But no, so we did that. Did a half-hour segment on me. We played 2 songs. They had a person in there talking that spoke English and Hungarian, an interpreter. And every 4 hours, they played that segment the whole time I was on tour. So I get home from my gigs at night, and I turned the TV on, and within a couple hours, I was watching myself. It was amazing. I come here. If I walk into MTV, they arrest me,
Yeah.
So it's a joke.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I interviewed Mark Scott, who's used to be the drummer in Trickster, and he was telling me like 1 week, talk about MTV, like 1 week we had the #1 video on Dial MTV, and by the next week, they stopped playing like hard rock and grunge was the next big thing, and he's like, we couldn't get our video played on MTV at all after that.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, MTV is amazing. They killed themselves,
Yeah, they did. And we've done East Coast dates too. I had a manager that used to manage the Bullet Boys, Enough's Enough, and Brittany Fox. I actually went out and played guitar on a tour with Brittany Fox a few years back.
Wow.
Yeah, of all bands, I'm like, it's just Chuck Berry licks. I mean, but it was fun, and my manager was in it. We got to hang out the whole time. My old manager, we're not managing me anymore. But we did Maine and the East Coast. We did, what else we did? I think we did Iowa or Lincoln, Nebraska. We played these outdoor, like, what do you call them? Like a carnival almost. We were on the back of a big freight car that was flat. Yeah. And they had big PAs on each side, and it was fun. Yeah. And the whole town was there. I mean, it was like you're playing for 10, 15, 20,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Because this is the only thing happening for the next year, and everybody's there, kids and grandparents. Yeah. And it was and I have relatives in Lincoln, Nebraska that I'd never met before, and they were there to see me. So I'm looking out in the audience, and I lock eyes, and I give a look, and she starts going like this, and she's pointing at the kids, and it was just crazy. Wow.
Well, Greg, you and I are a West Coast connection here today, and Tom is from the East Coast, being from New York. His band held hostage. They're based out of New York. So what's that like, Tom? The East Coast versus the West Coast thing. I mean, what we say the New York rock scene's like right now.
Well, New York rock scene is actually coming back. COVID killed a lot of stuff. I mean, COVID hurt this whole business even worse.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, but I mean, I tell you, my favorite places to play, believe it or not, is the West Coast. I mean, I play the East Coast all the time. I played up and down, and in fact, we're getting ready to. I'm going to be out on tour in February. I think I'm going from Texas to Florida across there, and then we're going to try. I think we'll be in California January, but then we're going to go back to the West Coast. I think in May or June, and try to go up through Seattle, all around through there, California, Seattle. Start in Vegas. I think we're going to start in Vegas and work through there, Phoenix and all across through there. But I love the music scene out in California because it's different. Here in New York, we go out. There's a lot of new venues that have been built outdoors. In fact, we play this one place called Sharky's, and everybody's coming through here. I mean, I played there. Quiet Riot was here. Everybody that comes to town plays at Sharky's in Syracuse. It's the second largest outdoor stage in upstate New York. And I play. In fact, I'll be doing a show there. I'm a big veteran supporter. Raise money for veterans. I'll be there November 11th. We're doing a salute to America, and a Metallica tribute band will be there with us too.
Are you from Syracuse?
Yes, Syracuse, New York. Yes.
Do you know who Gary Holland is, or Gary Hellinan?
I know that name. I know that.
Gary's my old drummer in Sweet 19. He changed his name to Holland now, but he was in Dokken with me, and he was in Great White, and. But anyways, he's from Syracuse too, and my drummer is from I think he's from Long Island. But yeah, there's the best drummers that I've ever played with all come from New York, because there's a toughness about the drummers from New York. Yeah. I played with Vinny Appice one time when Danny Johnson didn't show up at one of the rehearsals. They were rehearsing at a friend of mine's place, and I knew all the songs. So I'm listening to this drummer, and I'm just going, Jesus. It sounds like he's going to kill these drums, and just laid in. It was like so bitching. And, we were like big Axis fans back in the day, and that was his band with Danny Johnson. And I just went crazy playing with a drummer that solid. And Gary played like that back then. It was just, and my drummer now, he studied under Carmine Appice for years growing up. So he's got that thing about him that I love.
Yeah, there's a lot of great drummers.
Ever had any encounter with him, Greg? Carmine?
Who?
Carmine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, actually quite a few. When I had my shop in Hull, this is kind of funny, and I'm kind of a prankster with people. I like joking, joking them and pranking them. But some guy had come into my shop, and he had Beck, Bogart, and Appice bootleg from Japan that hadn't been out yet. So out in my driveway, he was going to Subway sandwich shop, and I go, fuck, there he is. So I ran out there with the CD, and I bumped into him. Kind of hard. So I get his attention, and Carmine looks at me and goes, dude. And I go, hey, that's you. And so it's a picture of the three of them on the cover live, and he goes, give me that. What'd you do? So we got into his car. We listened to the whole damn record. Wow. It was crazy. So, we're talking, and super nice guy. And I had met him years ago when Sweet 19, my old roadie, was his roadie. And we used to change when we play at the Troubadour. We would change at his house, and Les Dudek was there, and all these amazing people were there. And we're just kids, and he's letting us take showers at his house and stuff, and bedded us down for the evening. No, I'm kidding, he didn't do that. But and just like a totally cool guy. And I run into him at the NAMM shows all the time. My drummer knows him really good, and whenever they're together, they even sound the same when they talk. It's weird. But I've seen, and I've met Vinny quite a few times, but Vinny's he's not real talkative like Carmine.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I've interviewed Carmine a number of times. Like you said, always been a super nice guy. But and he was joking with me. He goes, I'm the guy that actually John Bonham said, influenced him.
Absolutely, that's true.
Yeah. And then the guys in Vanilla Fudge. I also interviewed the singer Mark Stein, and he was telling me, he goes, I'm the guy that influenced the John Lord said that my keyboard playing really was an influence on him.
Nice.
So those guys go way back.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very, very interested in talking with your partner there about moving ahead to the next step, and
Okay.
It sounds very interesting. I like people from New York. I've always gotten along with because most of the people that I've met from New York are no nonsense, and I'm no nonsense. My folks were all Midwestern. You know, my dad was an Italian guy from back east. You know, when they said they're going to do something, they did it. You know,
the thing I can tell you about Tom is, besides being from New York, is I think, you guys got that connection as far as being fellow musicians. And so it's very different than talking to somebody who's just in a suit, knows nothing about being in a band,
oh
or,
yeah, yeah,
kind of lived the life. So he kind of knows, you guys have that I think in common.
yeah.
And
That's
Tom,
awesome.
let me ask
Well,
you,
our
Tom,
label's all about the musician. Our label's all about the musician. When they brought me in as the president, I just said, we're not charging people to go out and sell their own fucking music. Excuse my language. That really bothers me.
You
Labels
don't have to.
selling
You don't have to talk like that around me.
But
he's a real New Yorker.
when you're playing your gigs, that's where you're going to sell the most of your product. You should keep 100% of that. And that's what our label's all about. The artist keeps 100% of at their shows. Keep all the money. We don't care about that stuff. We want you to make money because you're making more money on merchandise. I mean, when I go out, I'm selling $2,000 to $3,000 a night in merchandise.
Wow.
On an off night. So. But I just think it's more important that musicians need to make the money. And
Absolutely.
the record label's got to stop stealing from them.
Yeah. I
So
agree.
when I was offered the job, I took it. I sold 14,000 copies of my last album. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you keep
Nowadays, that's huge. That's huge nowadays.
Yeah.
I just got off the phone, not just now, but last week I was on the phone with Mike Varney from Metal Blade, and he was telling me about some of these records, and these guys are from platinum selling bands. They can't sell 100 CDs.
Yeah, I know. We're seeing
and that's why one of the reasons he said he closed up shop. He just said, I don't know how to market this stuff no more. Nobody buys records.
That's like I tip my hat to a guy like you, Greg, because you got bands like Kiss that they don't need to record new music because they're on their way out. They've been doing it for 50 years. They've made their millions, and so. But a guy that's been doing it as long as you could, you don't have to put out new music. You could just go out there and do live shows. But as a fan, I love your latest album. You know what I mean? And so I think it's we just need to do whatever we can to spread the word so more people go and check the album. And I totally am into buying CDs. But what I do love about going on YouTube is it gives people chances. Like even when I interview a guy like you, okay, I want to be able to say I've listened to your songs, your music. So I go on there and I listen to it, and then I can at least know what I'm talking about if I like it or not. But then if I like it, I will go out and buy the album.
Well, I've made my hundreds in this business, and no, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, probably so. Yeah. Probably spend more money on your equipment than what you.
Oh,
made,
dude,
right?
you don't even want to know. I got 50 guitars. I got 5 stacks. I've got a complete recording studio. I'm up to my eyeballs, and I own everything outright. I pay cash for everything, and it's just my passion. Like since I was a little kid, I could always sing. I remember being what are you in first grade, 6 years old, walking home from school, and I had a little transistor radio my Aunt Gladys gave me, and it was either the Jackson 5 or the Osmond Brothers song came on.
There you go.
And I started singing it on the way home, and I'm thinking to myself, God, I can do this. And my dad was a singer, a great singer. My mom sang in choirs. So it's just in my blood, and the guitar playing too,
Hey, Tom, before we wrap it up, I know you always, you're a guitar geek and you always love to talk gear. Anything you want to ask him about his rig and his gear and all that?
Yeah, you mentioned
you had me at rig.
You mentioned you use some pedals. What kind of pedals do you use? What do you use?
I have an 846 wah-wah, a real one, and I have a Clyde McCoy also from 67 or 68. I just got, and I make Octavias like Hendrix had with Band of Gypsies.
Sure.
And there's some guy, I don't know where he's from, but it comes from Canada, but I think the guy's in China or something. And he makes a Axis fuzz, like the Roger Mayer Axis fuzz, but they're $40. And the only thing is everything's there, but there's no enclosure. So you put it and there, I bought 2 of them. It's amazing. And then that goes, and that's got true bypass. So I have that on my board. And then I go into a Green Rhino, which is, big, whatever you call it. I can't think of the guy's Green Rhino overdrive pedal. And I just use it for boost, not for any kind of fuzz or anything like that. Then that goes into my wah-wah. And then after the wah-wahs, there's a little flanger that I very rarely use, but it's true bypass. And then I go into my Univibe pedal. And then after that, it goes into a stereo chorus. And I got two, right now I'm playing through Marshall JCM 900s, and I have two lexicons in my effects loop, one for reverb and one for delay. And that's my thing. And I got 25-watt greenbacks in old Marshall cabinets that I play.
Hey, Greg, I got to ask, do you know if you'll be attending NAMM this year?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
We'll be there. We'll be there.
Oh, cool. We'll definitely have to hang and maybe go to dinner afterwards.
There you go. There you go. We'll see.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, this was a lot of fun, and I definitely want to tell you that you're going to be somebody we'll invite back time and time again. You're welcome back anytime. And
Well, I love these things, and you're fun to talk to. And Tom is, he's a right on dude. I get a good vibe from the guy, and I can feel out people pretty good at this age. And I get a good vibe from both you guys. You're fun, and you're there for the right reasons.
Yeah, well, thanks. You too, Greg. You keep doing what you do, and we'll keep supporting. You take care, my friend.
Right on. Make sure I get you guys' phone numbers.
I'm gonna touch base with you off there right now. Okay.
Okay. Cool, man.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks a lot. I really had fun, and I appreciate you guys.
Anytime, buddy. Bye bye.